morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the All American Savage Show podcast. I'm your host, John Burke, in-house with the most beautiful, illustrious, heterosexual life partner and Jew, Josh. Like how I said Jew. And Jew.
And Jew.
And Jew. We got a Jew in the house. Not really, but even if we did, it'd be okay.
Yeah.
Put him in charge of finances. Anyway, nothing like a little Jew joke right off the cuff. Oh my God, a lot of news to get to today. We had a freaking tornado warning this morning.
Yeah, one touchdown over near Fort Worth.
Yeah, and over in Plano as well. They said they spotted one. I was over in the gym getting my hair cut, and then suddenly it just starts getting like really dark, and it turns into kind of like a scene out of The Wizard of Oz. You start to see like the skies really darken, and the wind picks up, and then it starts to get really cold, and it's like, oh shit, here we go. So, and it was so funny because this woman's about to like walk out of the gym, and the barber that's cutting my hair, Jay, is like, I wouldn't go out there. And she like opens the door and sees how windy. She goes, oh my God, I'm not from Texas. I don't like this at all. It's like, yeah, welcome to Texas. It's like this is Tornado Alley.
Yeah.
So
good stuff.
Good stuff.
It was warm out there too.
Yeah. The conditions were perfect for like a tornado. It was crazy. But anyway, well, hey, folks, if it's your first time tuning in, I want to say welcome to the show. If you're on Rumble, we appreciate all of our Rumble followers out there. Hit that thumbs up button. It helps boost the video and the algorithms. It gets more eyes on us and helps the show grow. Big thank you to people that support us there. And also, don't forget to show love on Locals. You can get there from the Rumble app. It's literally right there, the link. You can support us over on Locals. And don't forget, at the end of every month, we do a $500 giveaway for Shell Shock CBD for one lucky local supporter. $4.99 a month, up to whatever you want to support us at. If you like the show, if you enjoy the content, if it makes you chuckle, if it makes you want to touch yourself or throw up, whatever, it gets an emotional reaction, well, you should pay for that, because by God, if you're paying these thoughts to see their tits, well, then we're stimulating your brain.
Yeah.
There you go. That's a great sell. You're going to like the way you touch yourself when you listen to our voices. We guarantee it. What are you doing? That's gross. No, stop it. We're crazy. We're crazy. We're vato loco. Well, right off the bat, if you followed the FTX whole scandal, that whole ordeal, apparently that has come to a head. Sam Brinton has been, not Sam Brinton, other dude, Sam Bankman. This is just a classic case of this is a nerd that's really smart that comes into a lot of money that lets his power of intelligence and intellect go wrong. You had these powers. You were the chosen one. You could have used them for good, like go to Star Trek conventions and shit. But no, you had to steal from people.
Yeah, he looks like a booger from Revenge of the Nerds.
Let's get
into that movie.
No, I don't think I've ever actually seen it. I remember the big dude, the cross-eyed guy.
Yeah,
nerds.
Ogre.
Yeah, but
it's funny. 8
fresh charges filed against former FTX CEO Sam Bankman-Fried. Now, don't forget, this is also the same guy that Maxine Walters said that she would not subpoena to go before Congress because he was just so willingly, he's such a nice guy. And then she's sitting there taking photos with him after the fact. It's like, this guy just scammed millions of dollars.
Taking photos and donations.
And then sitting there saying, like, I just don't know where it went. Like, bullshit, you don't know where it went. Like, this dude should be in jail for life. He fucked over a lot of people. But the likes of the freaking Maxine Waterses, the James Brown with Down syndromes types, like, my God, you look at something like this and she's taking photos with this guy. You're a piece of shit.
Oh, no.
You're like, why are you hailing this guy up? It's like, look how magnificent it is that he answered our questions without, any kind of pressure. He stole millions. That does not suddenly...
Was it millions or was it billions? I think it's billions.
It's billions?
Yeah.
Dude, it wouldn't surprise me at this point. But Sam Bankman-Fried, the disgraced founder and former CEO of cryptocurrency exchange FTX, was hit with a host of fresh charges Tuesday relating to possible financial crimes and campaign finance violations. A major allegation centers on the prospect that he may have been pivotal in the collapse of FTX and willingly concealed its problems from the public and investors. In total, Bankman-Fried was charged with 8 counts ranging from wire fraud to money laundering to conspiracy to commit fraud on the United States. Jesus. These are not charges that just kind of go hand in hand with, hey, you scammed a little bit. These are like some serious federal charges. Like, holy shit. And the fact that, I know a lot of people on the right were like, this guy is working for the left. It's like, no, Mitch McConnell was on the take. And that's the thing. It's like, why aren't these congressional people being brought up on charges?
These scumbags.
And technically, I guess they didn't do anything wrong. They're investing in crypto. I get it. But still, if McConnell it's proven that this guy received donations from this piece of shit, I mean, come on, man. That does not look good. Even if you can't prove that in court, that is still does not look good on you at all. Like it'd be like somebody's like, oh, I'm taking investments from Jeffrey Epstein. It's like, that does not look good.
Yeah.
Regardless of how well you may doing or how poor, it doesn't matter. That does not look good. So, but you know, I can't even sit there and say that I'm shocked.
No.
When something that like breaks, it's like, well, yeah, I can see that. I can totally see that.
That's all they do is enrich their own lives.
I hate these scumbag politicians.
Yeah, but thank God they got that marriage thing taken care of.
We got an article on that. You're going to be surprised. Actually, you're not going to be surprised in who the White House invites for this whole charade. It's ridiculous. It's a groomer. Sorry, breaking news. It's a groomer. The White House is supporting trans groomer ideologies. Go figure. This should not come as shocking. And this is why the Biden administration's on fire. It's like they're dancing in their own little circus of freaks and wackadoos. And meanwhile, the rest of like the progressive DNC is looking at them going like, this is just, y'all are too much. It's dude, again, the further they go down that divide, the better off the DNC is going to be from like alienating itself from itself, which is going to split the party. And the DNC, I'm telling you, man, if here's the thing, if Republicans really, really wanted to hammer the left, then what they should be doing at the forefront of all campaigns right now is basically saying that if anybody, if here's the thing, I put it this way. Homosexuals should then denounce the LGBT, and the LGBT should be done away with. Because if you support the LGBT that has sanctioned child-friendly drag shows, then now you are favoring degeneracy. So if you are gay and you support the LGBT, then you are now partaking in that degeneracy. So it's like Republicans need to take that stance of like, will you denounce the LGBT? And if you won't, why not? That is the easiest stance. You would win the culture war right there. Yeah. You're not going to convince the alt-left to change their opinion. That's not who you're really doing this for. You're doing this to convince the moderates to say, look at what your party's turned into. Will you denounce the same 4, 5, 6-letter alphabet mob that is now like pandering to children? Will you denounce that? And if you will not denounce that, then that must mean you support it. And here's the thing. That's not me trying to generalize. That's me saying this is what the LGBT is sponsored. So you can argue that from any different angle you want, but at the crux of this whole issue, that's what it is right now. Mm-hmm. So if Republicans really want to take it to the left, fucking hammer them. Every single rainbow warrior activist out there, hammer them. Will you denounce the LGBT? And if they won't, it's like, okay, so then you're on the side of groomers. And I'm telling you, this fad will come to an end. And those that were in support of this should always be remembered as being pedophile lovers. Hopefully, I'm just going to put it this way. I hope people take matters into their own hands. I really do. I'm not even going to front on that. I'm not even going to front. If the cops aren't doing their jobs, if CPS isn't getting involved, I read an article today about Dallas judge essentially is allowing this doctor to continue treating trans youth. She said she's treated over 70 in Dallas because she says time is an issue here to affirm these young transgender youth.
Like,
and here in Dallas.
What's wrong with people?
It's money. These doctors don't have a shred of moral decency.
Like, the Hippocratic Oath just means nothing.
No. Not at all.
Why even say it then? Why even take it?
Because in their mind, it's not violating their oath. They're doing it to save a life. Because if they don't help this trans person transition, they're going to commit suicide. It's like, well, that in itself should tell you that's why they need psychological help, not a physical affirmation of a psychological delusion. That's not going to do anything. But again, this is where modern medicine is at, folks. That's why when they say trust the science. Which science are we talking about? The science of basic biology, the left denies?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
the new Cambridge dictionary definition.
I got an article on that too. I mean, we got that. The
only thing they care about is penises and vaginas. Uh-huh. Like this administration has nothing. They don't care about the fact that the inflation is at a 40-year high. Interest rates are super high. Grocery bills are super high. Gas is crazy high.
I think they focus more on the culture war to deflect away from the economic catastrophe they facilitate under the Biden administration. That's the only reason they could be hitting so hard on the culture. Because you can't tell me this
other than this 4 or 5% of the of American citizens are celebrating this bill that they spent all this time and money on. That it doesn't do anything for anybody.
No.
Bring the prices down.
Yeah.
Open up American drilling.
Well, I mean, again, it just goes to prove what did the emperors of Rome do when the people were upset? Entertainment. Give them entertainment. This is entertainment.
Bring out the homosexuals. The people are upset. Dance.
Bring forth the fat lesbians to do battle in the arena to please the people.
Dance gays. For all the people.
Oh my, it's true though. Why else do you think the Biden administration, do you really think, looking at all the footage of Biden from the 80s and the 90s and seeing just how racist at heart this guy is, You really think 80-something-year-old Joe Biden is okay with kids going, like, come on, no. Deep down in his heart, when he's in the bedroom alone with Joe Biden and she's like cowering for her life because she doesn't want to have sex with the old prune, he's probably just dropping the N-bomb left and right, saying how much bullshit the LGBT is putting him through because he hates all the freaking gays and shit like that. Guaranteed that's what that dude's saying behind closed doors. Guaranteed.
I wouldn't put it past Joe Biden to had a couple penises in his mouth.
I wouldn't doubt that either.
Over his,
I wouldn't doubt that either.
His 85 years of life
in Congress, 85 years in Congress, pretty much. Well, hey, non-binary Biden nuclear official Sam Brinton fired after multiple luggage theft charges reports. There was no way. Just real quick. If Brittany Grenier is missing any luggage, I think you know where to go at this point. Yeah. I think you know where to go at this point.
You know, if he was a white man, that wouldn't have happened to him.
No, absolutely not. But I don't know if he's actually going to be into Russian-based luggage. Probably not. It's like a little knapsack with some, I don't know, some weird shit in there, like a cloak. That's all she got. I don't know.
I think when you start to put on spanking seminars and
oh my god,
dress like
if only we could have just seen something like this coming. Yeah, because people are getting hit. It was like, oh, so you're saying that people that act like these doggy fetishes act in this way? It's like, well, from what I'm seeing, yeah. Kind of.
Okay.
Little immoral degeneracy there.
I'll put all my eggs in that basket. Okay, I don't have a problem with that.
I'll say yes. Yeah. If you are so openly outright weird like this, then yes, I do question your morals. 100%. Yeah, absolutely.
You start taking things.
I mean, it's just funny to me. So, oh my God. Well, where is she at? Hold on. We got Jessica Harlow calling in today. Oh shit. 1 second. I'm going to have to, fuck. I think I'm going to have to redo the camera unless I can pull this. Let me see. Hold on. I got to see if I can pull mine out. That's what she said.
Yeah, there's a lot of people talking about how Brittany is a dude, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm starting to believe it myself.
It doesn't shock me.
Like I saw some of the video of her walking and talking.
Yeah,
with
the
camera.
voice. It's nuts. It's nuts.
And I think she's like 7 feet tall, or he is. They talked about. I mean, it's just weird.
When I saw the handoff or the exchange, that is one tall woman. I mean, that
and the pictures of her or him with the shirt off.
Mm-hmm. I mean, with the shirt off, I was looking because again, when I saw that, I was like, I don't think that is I don't think that's
a trans.
Yeah, it was just like I don't see any mastectomy scars. Usually where the nipple area is at, I was like, I think that's a dude.
Yeah.
It's weird, right? Is it just me? Is that weird? It's weird. It got weird.
Yeah, so Britt's wife is straight after all, not 11. Yeah, it's just, I think so.
Think what? She's straight?
Yeah, I think it's a man married to a woman.
I think so too.
But he's saying he's trans and really a woman, and she's a woman saying that she's a lesbian.
Yeah.
And like, where are we?
Bro,
what the hell's going on?
What's happening here? The men are women and the women are men.
I blacked out, and all of a sudden, women are men, men are women. Cats and dogs getting along.
All right, Jessica Harlow is going to be calling in. Actually, let me just give her your number so we can have her call in. Let me Skype it to her. Stall, Josh. Stall.
Hey, Brittany. It's a good-looking penis you got there.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, so that's interesting.
Oh, my God. All right, I'm giving her the number now.
All right. She calling in now?
Which number do you want me to give her? The personal one?
Yeah, mine.
Okay. 1 second. All right, just thought that over to. She should be calling here Shoon. Should be calling here Shoon.
Got it.
And it's really no surprise. Before I forget, the dog officer, the guy that was the officer that was caught in the masks, the doggy masks and stuff. Well, apparently there's been an article that's just been released that the military in Honolulu, Hawaii, the 25th, they're investigating it. So for those that don't know, that even when you are on active duty and you take photos like that, and then you share them after the fact, if you were on active duty, it's a big no-go. You can't do that. Like, once you're out, you can do whatever you want. But where they're going to get him at is that he was on active duty. So.
Yeah, that's so weird. Like, why would he do that?
honestly,
like what's going on with
because
people?
just degeneracy, I guess. And the other fact is he targeted junior officers, which is you are not allowed to do that. You are not allowed to do that, and it's disgusting.
Huh?
It's disgusting.
Yeah, I'm confused at what's going on with people now.
Well, this is also an officer that he, by the way, I think he's like an 06, 07. So he's been in for a very long time, and guarantee he's conducted investigations very similar to this, and probably leaned in favor of how the Army is supposed to handle these things. So I'm willing to bet he's prosecuted other people for the very, well, maybe not exact situation. Somebody wearing cat masks, I don't know. But yeah, dude, I don't fucking know.
It just seems so weird.
This
that he would put a mask on with a suit. Like, what statement is he trying to make? He's a bitch.
I mean,
right?
It's a fetish, I guess.
The dog.
It's a dog fetish, I guess. But and here's the thing, I really feel that if the Army does not go after this guy, because he clearly broke regulations, if the Army does not go after this guy, because I have this feeling that the LGBT is going to form and say that this is a slap or a slight against the LGBT, and you're doing this because he's gay. And if the Army caves to that, well, then the Army is lost. I mean, I already feel like the Army's lost for the most part. Mm-hmm. But if they go that route and they succumb to the loudest gay voices in the room, goodbye standards. Because if officers get away with it, it's done. It's over. You cannot enforce that on the enlisted. And then the Army falls into just complete immoral degeneracy. And that's where we're at. That's where we're at.
Strange.
Very strange. But yeah, but non-binary Biden nuclear official Sam Brinton fired after multiple luggage theft charges. The Department of Energy has fired a top nuclear waste official. Is your call waiting on? She said she tried calling. She's not getting through.
Oh, sorry. Let's see.
There we go. All right, the Department of Energy has fired a top nuclear waste official who happens to be non-binary and has been accused in a string of luggage thefts. According to reports, Sam Brinton is no longer a DOE employee. By law, the Department of Energy cannot comment further on personnel matters. A spokesperson for the DOE told the Daily Beast on Monday the Post had reached out to the agency for comment. The 35-year-old Biden administration deputy assistant secretary for spent fuel and waste disposition at the DOE's Office of Nuclear Energy was reportedly canned after being charged with stealing a woman's suitcase from a Minneapolis airport in September and another woman's bag from Las Vegas in July. She said the call failed.
Weird. Hey, text me your number and I'll call her.
Okay. We're very professional at this studio. Oh, my God. This is great. Bear with us, folks. Bear with us. We're going to make this happen.
It's a family.
It's a family. And then, of course, we've got the White House. They're hosting apparently a musical ordeal about the gay marriage thing. You see this? All right, just text you the number.
Okay.
There we go. Hopefully that's the right number. Otherwise, we're going to have a really random person on the... No, you're good. You're good. It's the right number. Oh, my God.
All right.
She better answer. You're kidding me.
Your call has been forwarded.
You're kidding me. Are you serious? Yeah, that's the right number. Oh my God.
Who is this?
Who the fuck is this? She's like so Italian too, so I can sit here like saying something like cussing us out in Italian. White House hosting massive musical celebration for same-sex marriage bill signing. The White House previewed a massive signing celebration at the White House on Tuesday for a bill making gay marriage federally legal. Tomorrow is going to be a really important day for many Americans, millions of Americans across the country. Karine Jean-Pierre said at the Daily Briefing on Monday, and I think we cannot forget that. But here's the question I have, though. States still have the right to say no.
Yeah.
So I don't get this. Like, this is nothing.
I don't know.
It's like federally recognized. I get that. But at state level, you can easily say, we're voting against this policy. And if the people say no, which again, if we're if we're sitting there saying that we favor the idea of abortion being passed down to the states for them to decide, it should be the same situation.
Yeah.
The same case.
Yeah, I mean, it's just such a slap in the face to all Americans that this is what they're focusing on.
Yeah.
Instead, this should be back burner stuff.
Yeah.
This isn't life-threatening stuff. Okay, it's like
No.
high gas prices, being able to put food on your table to feed your family. That's the most important thing.
Bro, the girlfriend came home yesterday. She was looking at this. I forget what the fast food place was. They just launched a new chicken sandwich. And she was like, it's $13 for the sandwich.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, that's not surprising. Buc-ee's, I love Buc-ee's so much. But their stuff, they went from like $6 a sandwich to like $9-10 a sandwich. I'm like, holy shit. It's like, this is insane.
It's out of control.
It's out of control. But this is the stuff we're focusing on right now because apparently that's what's important. And you know, this is, again, it's just majoring on the minors. Tomorrow is going to be a really important day for many Americans. Millions of Americans across the country, Karine Jean-Pierre said. She said that the White House expected thousands of invited guests for President Joe Biden's signing ceremony of the bill, including prominent gay and lesbian couples and musical guests. This will be musical guests and performances to celebrate this historic bill, she said. One of the invited guests is a drag queen activist, Marty Cummings, who performs for children. This is true. I got the article right here.
So this is taxpayer money paying these people to come to the White House to celebrate something that benefits 3% of the population, 4%.
Yep.
Let's say 5%.
If you're watching this right now, this is the dude. This is tweeted out from Mia Cathell. Says, this is non-binary drag queen Biden invited to the White House to attend today's Respect for Marriage Act signing ceremony. Marty G. Cummings, an anti-police activist, believes the kids are out to sing and suck D. And anyone who thinks drag isn't for children is wrong. You can take one look at this guy, and again, another degenerate. That's how it is. And this is who Biden invited to the White House.
He's a pervert.
It's disgusting. It's
like
fucking
this whole
disgusting.
administration, it's full of just perverts.
Just texted you the other number for her. She said try that one.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, this isn't shocking. You take one look at this guy. He literally tweeted out, the kids are out to sing and suck D. That was tweeted out March 6, 2022. You can't make this shit up.
Okay, I think we're here.
Oh, hey, what's up, Jessica?
Hi, how is everybody?
We're doing good. Can you hear me good?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Can we turn her up a little bit?
That's all the way up.
We got you. We know. We're trying. Can you put the microphone closer to your mouth?
Sure.
There
Like this?
There you go. Much better.
Okay.
Much better. How are you doing today?
Not bad. I'm sorry that this took so long.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. But
Okay.
I wanted to pick your brain on like how long do you have?
Like an hour?
Perfect. All right. So what I want to do is instead of an interview like we did last time, I want to do the news with you. You cool with that?
Okay.
I want to get your. I
I
want to
sound
get your.
like an idiot. I sound like an idiot.
No, who gives a fuck? It's you. Well, the thing is that you're going to be truthful. You're not going to sugarcoat the shit. You'd be like, no, I'm a fucking New Yorker. This is what I think. Fuck them. You know?
Yeah.
No. So
Okay.
the Gay Marriage Act bill it's going to be signed here soon, and it's going to make homosexuality and marriage federally legal. Which the thing, I don't think most people, Josh and I were previously talking about this. I don't think most people really care about this. It feels like to me like the White House.
Yeah, I don't care about that.
Yeah, it feels like the White House is running like a counter circus to try to pull away from people looking at the economic situation the Biden administration's got us into. What are your thoughts on this?
I think it's fine. I think I have no problem with gays being married at all.
Mm-hmm.
I think they have the right.
Do you feel like this is a distraction though?
It could be. I mean, but they're also, I feel like most conservatives actually don't care about gay marriage the way that sometimes the left might think. So it could be a distraction that's going to go nowhere because most conservatives that I know are perfectly fine with gay marriage.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't help that the Biden administration invited this guy who's a drag queen performer, and his name is like Martin D. Cummings. And he is literally in support of children being exposed to drag queen shows and tweeted out in March of this year saying the kids are out here ready to sing and suck D. And they've invited this guy to come perform at the ceremony. So it almost feels like what was once like pure and liberty-based as far as like, yes, let gay people get married. It feels like now with that act that they just committed, it's like now you've really perverted it to where you're including children in this now. And I feel like that's why a lot of people are turning on the LGBT.
Well, that's what I tell a lot of people who are part of that community. I tell them that they've been hijacking your movement in a sense in order to push and find like a little loophole so that they can squeeze in their perversion.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is really all about grooming children. At the end of the day, they're trying to legalize pedophilia. I've been saying this forever. And they're trying to get people to think that pedophilia is like just child love, and it's, you know, you can have somebody identify as a different age if that's the way that it needs to be in order to normalize this. And people don't really like to think about it because it's disgusting if you're like even a reasonably sane person. So nobody really thinks about it, but that's really what this is all going for. It started out as gay marriage, yes, and I have no problem with that. Then it went into, okay, some people identify differently, fine. And then now it's going into, suddenly we need to have children involved in things. And it's just like, what's the reason why? And that's something that a lot of leftists don't really think about when they think about progress. It's like, you have to have foresight. Where is this going, and where are you going to draw the line? Because they're just going to keep pushing. It's just like with the COVID lockdowns. Mm-hmm. You give an inch, they're going to take a mile.
No, I agree. I definitely agree. And it's just, it feels like what was once, like you said, pure and had good intention, it just feels like it's been hijacked now. But I noticed.
Yeah, and then they kind of like rope you in and say like, well, if you speak out, then that must mean you're against gays and you're against this and that. It's like, I really don't give a shit what anybody does. Yeah. As long as they're not hurting me or hurting children. And you are hurting children. Yeah. Even if you want to say that like, oh, there can be pedophiles who don't necessarily, let's say, molest children. It's like, but they're going to be consuming content that does hurt children.
Yeah. Did you ever think that in 2022 we'd even be having discussions like this?
I mean, I say this all the time. If like, let's say you were in a coma for the last 10 years and you woke up to today, you would think you woke up in hell. I mean, how much, like, how different, if it wasn't hell, like, how much worse would it need to get for it to be hell?
Well, it's already hot here in Texas. I mean, there's that. There's that. But no, I think you're right. Just in the span of like the last 7 to 10 years, we've done a complete 180. And we've went down this road, this very dark road, to where what the hell happened?
See, I don't necessarily think it was their plan to dump this much information on the public as they're doing right now. I think they're trying to play catch up because Trump was elected and they lost 4 years there. I think they try to drag this stuff out, drip it in so you don't really notice it. So I think now that they're pushing it so heavily now, it's a lot easier to see for most people.
Well, between them doing this and then the Spank seminar nuclear waste management guy, did you see that story, Jessica? How he got fired?
I love that story.
They actually fired him. What are your thoughts on that? Like when you first saw that?
I can't take anything out of this administration seriously at all whatsoever. I mean, did you see the content that they had of him? Like, I'm not sure if it was confirmed or not, but allegedly there were images of him in BDSM, like rope and God knows what else. Yeah. Now, this is like no shit. Like, I don't care what adults do, what consensual adults do. I'm not shaming him for if that's what he's into. That's his business or their business, whatever the pronouns are. Trying to do better. But I just remember there was a time where if you had content even remotely in that category, you would think you wouldn't be hired anywhere, let alone applying and getting a job at the White House. Yeah. Just what's happened?
You dress for success, I guess, right? Dress for the job you want.
We're already getting fucked by the administration. You might as well.
Yeah, so
I want to work for the biggest pervert in the world.
To be very honest with you, if that was like the biggest problem out of our administration is that they hired people who were into this stuff, it would be a great improvement.
Yeah,
but
honestly,
what an odd crime.
Yeah,
stealing luggages. I don't know. That's like out of like a Polonic novel for me. That's very quirky.
I feel like if they'd like continue to investigate this dude, eventually they'd be digging up some really weird shit on his browser. Pretty sure.
I don't even know that you have to dig.
I'm pretty sure that.
True.
Look, I don't like to pass judgments on people that are like really horrible because for all we know, maybe he's like a relatively decent human being outside of his
he's
like
a good house-trained dog.
Kleptomania.
He's housebroken.
You know?
As long as he's not shitting on the carpet, we're good. Yeah. God damn it, Sam's dragging his ass on the carpet again. Son of a bitch, get the newspaper.
I mean, but I'm pretty sure if they continue digging, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Just
Yeah.
I have no comments, but I have a lot of comments. It's just what the fuck.
Yeah, I agree. And like
Can
you
I
said,
curse on here? I forget. Can I curse?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh fuck yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
Fuck no, you can't. No, I agree with you. I think that if that's the worst the Biden administration had to deal with, then we're doing pretty damn good, quite honestly. But if it wasn't for the economic disaster that he's facilitated, then all this becomes is this is the sideshow.
That's all I care about. But that's the thing. That's all I care about is the economic disaster that we're having, plus the increase of crime. I mean, the issues that I have to say both sides talk about are so ridiculous to me. I'm like, let's have money and let's have a generally safer, community to live in. Yeah. And then we could worry about abortion and who's getting married and whatever other garbage they can come up with. Like, I don't care about those things right now. We have way bigger fish to fry.
Yeah.
What are the gas prices like where you're at right now?
I think they're fine.
They're getting back to normal?
They're high, but how long is that going to last?
Dude, I don't know.
I think it's supposed to go back up. So I think
it's
they try
to go back up because aren't they running out of something?
Yeah, the reserves.
I mean, we're running out of everything in this freaking country.
Yeah, it's the emperor has no clothes. like we are literally heading for economic disaster.
There's never anything in stock. Yeah, there's never anything in stock. The shelves are empty.
I know. I went in to go get formula yesterday, and I couldn't find it. It's the truth. It's the fucking truth. And I think we have such polarizing political spectrums here that neither side refuses to acknowledge, like, hey, we're in a really bad spot. Well, at least Republicans are doing this. They're saying, like, look, this is not good.
Yeah,
like, Democrats are just kind of like doing the whole close your eyes, cup your ears, and say, I don't see anything. It's like, bro, the country's on fire.
Democrats are too busy getting laid on Tinder because they're the only ones who are like on there, because the Republicans are like, you could be blacklisted or whatever on there.
Oh, I don't know. I've used it.
Oh, I've heard of people, because it's like, oh, if you're a conservative, they'll like put your address out, your information out, they'll shame you. If you're not vaccinated, oh my God, you're the devil. I don't know. Listen, I don't do the dating apps. I'm just like telling you what I'm hearing.
The times that I've used them, never anything like that. No.
Well, maybe because you're in Texas.
Yeah, that could be as well. But I mean, I'm outside of Dallas, so that was like weeding through the liberal women. Because if they had like BLM in the profile, I'm like, nope, not gonna happen.
I hear from men all the time who tell me that on Tinder it's like a nightmare because most of the women are like hardcore lunatic liberal feminists.
I think they're like projecting because they think that that's what men want. They want a woke woman when in fact it's quite the opposite. It's like, I'm looking for a woman that basically does not have her head up her own ass.
No, I think it's even worse than that. I don't think it's that they think that that's what men want. I think they think like, okay, I want a man, but I don't give a fuck what he wants.
Yeah.
Well, then, I mean, don't date men.
Like, true.
How are you gonna? But you want men to care about what women want, but you don't want to care about what a man wants.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it to an extent. I'm not saying completely change who you are, but I mean, you do have to care a little bit.
Do you feel
they don't care at all?
No, they don't. They really don't. And it's been weird to me.
These women are nuts.
I normally I've been dating like very progressive women, not in the sense of like liberally, but like more they're focused on their career, things such as that. But in the most recent relationship, it's definitely evolved into a more traditional sense. And I actually really like it to the point where, like, she works.
That's how it's supposed to be.
Well, I wanted to get your perspective on that. Like, you're from the north; it's a different area up there as opposed to the south. She was raised to cook and to things like that, and I never like put my thumb on her or treat her bad or anything like that. She does it because she wants to do it.
Take that trash out.
Take that trash out, woman. No, but it's like
I think it depends a lot on like ethnicity too, because I'm Greek, so it's like old school.
Yeah,
in a lot of ways.
Is that still how y'all are up there? Or has it become more progressive?
Oh my God! Like, no, they're. I think I'm pretty progressive considering for Greeks, but like, no, it's not. It's like everybody follows tradition. People get married at a certain age. They have kids. Mm-hmm. They name all their children after their parents, names that should never be brought back into society, and they just keep it going because that's a tradition.
Oh my! What's the dating life for you out there? Are you still single, or what are you on? You're with somebody?
I'm dating.
Oh, good for you.
I'm dating. I have no problems with dating.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, like you said last time, have you seen me? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like, whatever.
The Supreme Empress.
I usually, I don't understand how people have issues with dating, but then again, they're not me. So they don't have my fatal allure. but like for me, it's like I have to make a conscious decision not to date.
How so? I mean, you have an overwhelming amount of suitors.
Well, sometimes it's just, well, you know how it is. It's like once you don't want anybody, that's when everybody fucking wants you.
Yeah.
So anytime I'm just like, you know what, I'm done with dating. I just want to spend some time alone. It's like it does never happen.
I'm tired of you assholes. It's freaking enough.
Yeah, that doesn't last long. It doesn't last long. I'm always dating somebody.
Well, good for you. That's good. You're back out there getting it on, getting your happiness on. You just got back on Twitter, didn't you?
I did, but I'm not really like using it as much as I would like. I got on there. Listen, I like the idea of free speech, and I don't know. I love Elon Musk in a way, but like I don't trust him as far as I can throw him. Yeah, which isn't very far. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't really know.
No, I
don't know what's allowed because I still feel like he's still banning people. Like, I don't know what Kanye West does. I don't see why you can't post a swastika. I wouldn't do it personally. I don't see the reason why you would.
Right.
I just don't understand how an image is bad. I mean, I don't know. I didn't see all of the context of the tweets, so I can't comment. Maybe there was other stuff going on.
I think I'm just like Elon had just acquired Twitter, and then he's fighting off this misinformation of everybody saying it's turning into a hate platform where they're only giving white supremacists and things like that and anti-Semites a voice to speak. So I kind of get it that I agree with you. He shouldn't have been banned, but I get Elon's position on this to where if Kanye's out there tweeting anti-Semitic stuff, then all you're doing is giving credibility to this leftist MSM. So
I still don't know what he said that was anti-Semitic.
It could create a ripple effect. And given that, he is somebody who has such a large following and a lot of influence, I mean, I could see how that could. I mean, you definitely don't want it to turn into a platform where it's like everybody's posting stuff. Which, first of all, it's like why, which is concerning. But I always say I want to know who people are. Yeah. And I feel like if you silence people, you're just teaching people how to hide parts of themselves that maybe might be worth you knowing. Yeah. Because I would want to know who's, somebody hateful, actually is. Person. Yeah. It'd be awesome if Elon could buy Facebook. Who doesn't want any good, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like I have mixed feelings about it. I get it on the one hand. On the other hand, I'm like, I don't know, because it does fall under free speech. Mm-hmm. I'm of the mind of like, if you don't like something, just don't follow it or don't, buy into it or whatever. Just ignore it. But I don't know. It's such a slippery slope, though, because as long as you're not breaking the law, I agree. But at the same token, though, it's like... I think that's really it, honestly, because you could easily sit there and say, well, this could breed violence. Well, anything really could. Yeah, you can't make contextual calls based on what could be. How do you decide what is too much? Yeah, I don't know, because like I do agree that it's setting a bad precedent. I am noticing that there are definitely a lot more people coming out, and there's like these anti-Jew people coming out and on the streets, and I don't like that. Obviously, I don't like that, and you have to think about it and say like, well, that's what Kanye is doing. So I mean, do you have freedom of speech then, but not if you're at a certain level and you have a certain what? I just want to know what are the exact limits. And how is it decided? Who decides? That sort of thing. I try to look at things objectively without like reacting. To me, I mean, I think Kanye West is like clearly having a psychotic break of some kind. Yeah. Because I don't see how anybody in their right mind would decide to post a swastika.
I think it was more so in the sense of he was trying to embrace Christianity in a sense of I love everybody.
I'm like, I don't know what to tell you.
I think he was trying to take the stance of, as Christians, we're supposed to love everybody, to include Hitler. And I'm like,
I think that's what he's saying.
Unless he's calling for people. He had a very interesting way of phrasing it.
Well, wouldn't you say, I love Hitler? I pretty much take that at face value. It's like, what the hell?
Yeah, I just don't.
Yeah, I'm just like, do you really need to put it like that? I mean, I can understand if you were to like start it out as, like as Christians, we should love everyone, even, people, I still don't understand how he would say we're going to love somebody like Hitler. See, I don't know. It's just, I think he has a right to say what he wants, but at the same time, I understand why he shouldn't be allowed to say certain things. I get it. It's just, it seems like there's a lot of gray area, and I really am a person who does not like a lot of gray area. I don't know. I'd like to know what's okay, what's not, and why, and where are the limits.
Yeah, and then the other thing is
I look at things from all the angles.
Yeah, I agree. And the problem that I'm seeing with the whole Kanye thing is that he said some really ignorant things, and everybody's saying it's all anti-Semitic. It's like, not all of it's anti-Semitic. I was like, you can isolate certain things he's saying. It's like, yeah, I could see that. I was like, but at the same token, it's like the thing that really aggravated me is that people were like, this shouldn't be discussed. It's like, yes, it should. We should be having these discussions. I mean, I tuned in and I watched the Alex Jones Kanye interview. It was entertaining. I will say that much. But it's definitely.
I did not watch that. I did not watch. I just saw a few clips and I was like, what the hell is going on? And it's gone too far when even Alex Jones is like, all right, maybe this is like a little far.
When he used anti-Semitic, did he use anti-Semitic slurs?
No.
Did he call Jews like?
Well, he was saying he was making anti-Semitic jokes.
What jokes?
About Ben Shapiro and the rest of them? Like, yeah.
I didn't hear that.
Oh, yeah. He did the jokes about Ben Shapiro and, oh, yeah. It's like if you're sitting there saying that you love everybody and you're not anti-Semitic, then you turn around and you make anti-Semitic jokes. It's like, what?
Yeah, just from the clips that I saw, it said he loves everybody. It's like, I'm
like, watch the entire interview.
The guy is a lunatic. But also what I noticed about this, what else really disturbed me was I did hear that, do any of you know about this, where he was saying that he was standing by Balenciaga at the same time?
Yeah, I did see that part.
I mean, that's clearly not well.
No.
Yeah, clearly not well.
I think they'd given him something and
then nobody
he lost his mind.
And after all that happened, after all of that happened, we didn't hear anything about Balenciaga again.
Yeah,
and then suddenly they stopped, suing themselves.
Yeah. Did you see Kim Kardashian's thing about like she's reevaluating her relationship? Did you see that tweet?
Yeah, I saw that, and I thought that was the most. I mean, but really, what do we expect from somebody like her? Yeah. And I'm not saying it to be like, look, I'm not like anti-ho or whatever, like do what you want. Again, I don't care what adults do. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I think, look, I thought it was disgusting that she says that because at the end of the day, she's a mother on top of it. But I don't even see how you need, like, I'm not a mother and I still think it was completely disgusting, horrible, and wrong.
Yeah.
But to say you're reevaluating, what is there to reevaluate? And then she was like, to make sure this doesn't happen again. Doesn't happen again? Mm-hmm. I mean, if somebody were to molest and sexualize and objectify your child, are you going to be like, well, it only happened that one time?
Knock it off.
Stop doing that.
I don't know. I don't have children, but that would not be okay with me.
That was just her trying to make a play for time towards like, okay, give this some time. It'll get swept under the rug. But that's
she was reevaluating her paycheck. And
Bingo.
That's all these people care about. Honestly, at the end of the day, why do we care about what anybody really has to say? I think that's what's going. And meanwhile, we're here on a podcast.
Yeah, that's true.
Why does anybody care?
I think because it's entertainment. At the root core of it, it's just entertainment. To listen to stupid people talk, to listen to intelligent people talk, to listen to the people in the middle talk. It's getting different perspectives, I guess. But for someone like Kim Kardashian to say that, again, like you said, was this really any surprise? Of course not. But the thing I don't understand is if she's going to try and take that position to where it's like, let's just let some time go by. The next time she posts a picture in Balenciaga, she's going to get ripped apart. And the fact that people won't cancel her, and they will. And it's really surprising to me that they haven't already tried on Kim Kardashian yet, because for her to make that statement and give it a pass, like a one-time hall pass for grooming and child pornography, I'm just like, what the fuck? It's mind-boggling to me.
I mean, I heard the argument where people were saying, well, she wasn't a part of that campaign. It's like, yes, but why you're asking her to comment on this, so she has chosen to comment on it.
Yeah.
And this was the comment that she decided to go with.
Yep.
It almost would have been better if she had said nothing. That would be more actually on brand for her, because they just sweep everything under the rug.
They do.
I mean, let's not forget the Travis Scott, fiasco that happened.
Yep.
And they were all posting, flowers from their mother's birthday. It's like, are you serious? People died. Yep. I know you're not personally involved, but you are affected. Yeah. We assume. I mean, this is somebody who's like a family member to you guys. Yeah. So I don't understand. Listen, we're giving people that really don't deserve that much credit, way too much credit.
Yep.
It's just disgusting. It's disgusting. And I think everybody who's been spending money on these people and their brands should be actually very disgusted with themselves, because at the end of the day, as consumers, those are the ones who are at fault.
Yeah. They allow this behavior. by purchasing and supporting these brands. Well, we've got some good news. Cambridge Dictionary changes definition of man and woman. 1984 wasn't supposed to be a how-to manual. One commentator argued the Cambridge Dictionary is ceding linguistic territory to the radical left. Cambridge Dictionary is being criticized by conservatives on social media for altering the definition of the words man and woman to include people who identify as a gender other than their biological sex. The definition of woman, which previously represented the long-standing view on sex, now states that a woman is an adult who lives and identifies as female, though they may have been said to have a different sex at birth, which my response to that is, okay, well then define female. What is female? So, and then they continue and they say, similarly, a man is now defined as an adult who lives and identifies as male, though they have been said to have been different at sex at birth. So again, what is male? And this is how stupid our society has become.
They're redefining what they can't even define in the beginning. And the thing is, like, this is all really adorable, but where is this heading?
Exactly.
Where is this heading?
Yeah,
Once you start changing one thing, you're going to change another. It's like you give them an inch and they take a mile.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, like, this has very dangerous implications, because if we're redefining things like what's a woman, what's a man, we're changing the definition of that. Who's to say we're not going to change the definition of murder?
Yeah. Rape.
Or love.
Yep.
Or rape. Or what's a child? What's what's molestation? What's this? What's that? It's so insane that it's almost like an insult to even to your own intelligence to even try to talk about why that's wrong.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I agree. And it's just, this doesn't shock me at this point.
Yeah.
Nothing like this shocks me, because they've been trying to control the narrative for so long.
Yeah. And they're trying to push this on children. I mean, as an adult, you can hold two concepts where you can understand that, okay, they're calling this male a woman. We can understand that what we're actually looking at. A child has no concept yet of being able to know that what they're looking at isn't what it's actually called, but it's called that. They don't have the capability of that. That's not how their brains work yet. Yeah. And that's why they're attacking the youth, because they want them to have their brains scrambled. Yeah. I mean, isn't that the whole purpose of why they had that Common Core crap? That it still exists, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of stuff. I
believe it's brain scrambling.
It's indoctrination at a very young age to breed future allies, and that's the basis of any type of. I mean, you look at like World War II Hitler propaganda, same thing. Going after the youth, the Hitler youth, indoctrinate them.
Allies to do what?
Continue to evolve, push, fight for the cause as the cause continues to further go down that rabbit hole of just insane. I think at the crux of it, it's going to be pedophilia. That's the baseline. That's the bottom. You can't go any lower.
Yeah. It's pedophilia. It's dehumanization.
Yeah.
I mean, even with everything that's going on with AI and them trying to basically replace humans, I mean,
at this point, can you blame them?
Doesn't mean we should.
I mean, I can't even fault them at this point.
I'm not a big fan of humans. Like, let me just put it out.
I like dogs better.
I'm really not.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of humans. I'm really not. But that's not for me to decide.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's for anyone else to just who the fuck are they to tell us?
Yeah.
How many people we're going to have on the planet and how many people can be working. I mean, what are people supposed to do? I mean, gone are the days where people could even just be like, you can just have like a cute little job somewhere and, get by. That's gone. Besides our economy, like forget that, because it's a whole other subject. But you can't even, you're walking into stores and everything is self-checkout, and I'm guilty. I don't like talking to people, but I shouldn't have the option to not talk to people. Why are there like one or two people at the cashier and 5 robots for self-checkout?
There's a very good explanation to that. It's when people wanted to increase minimum wage.
And it benefits. Yes, and that's why I say to people, like, you want to increase the minimum wage, business owners are not going to be able to afford to even pay employees. So what are they going to do? They're going to just replace them. Why? Because they can. And I think something that people aren't talking about is we need to put limits on this.
On what?
On how much we can automate.
I disagree, because now you're going into a very, very slippery slope. What if we would have said this same thing about the internet? It's like, okay, the internet is going to essentially undermine the Federal Postal Service to the point where we're not even going to need it as much as we did before, because emails will basically replace letters. We're going to lose a massive amount of our income. But at the same token, how many jobs and things like that the internet now create? Hell, Amazon. So it's kind of like when we kind of trying to turn the spigot off on the potential progressing technologically wise, I feel like we really undermine ourselves more times than not. And also that's just, I feel like that's putting our dipping our toes into the free market, which never ends well. I think the free market should just be left alone, and what happens, happens.
I agree, but I don't see how this is benefiting society.
Oh, it's not. I'm not saying it is.
Maybe I sound like
no, I get where you're coming from.
We were against the internet back in the day, because I was like, I love technology, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't know what this is doing for our quality of life.
Oh, it's nothing good. No, I won't even disagree with you on that one.
Like
internet
it's going too far, and it's like,
well, not even internet, just social media in general. Because I was watching this guy's video.
We were never supposed to have this many people in our faces at all times.
You're not lying, because I was watching this guy's video, and he talked about, he's like, when you are scrolling through your apps like Instagram and TikTok and Facebook, he's like, you're exposed to a very high number of emotions, all within an insanely short time span. 1 minute you could be watching the funniest video I've ever seen. Next thing you're breaking down in tears because you're watching a father coming home from deployment or some shit like that. So you are literally going through all these emotions, this big Rolodex, in a very short period of time. Before the internet, before social media, it wasn't like that. So we have a generation like my generation that existed before the internet. And then you come into the internet and you kind of see, you remember from both sides, where people that were born and were raised under the era of internet, they have no idea what it was like before. Like the level of patience you had to have sitting in the DMV with literally nothing to do but a fucking book.
Reading bored, a magazine on the toilet.
Bored. Yeah, like, I mean, I notice it. I feel like nobody's bored these days. And I feel like so much of like the great things that humans would produce, whether it was creatively or, in business, whatever, a lot of it comes from boredom.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And nobody's really bored anymore. I mean, I think, look, I can't say, I think that there's a lot of kids who are really smart these days, and they're using the internet, and they're creating, a lot of wealth for themselves. They're doing things. I'm not saying no. Like, I do see that there's value.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I remember when I was growing up at the start of the internet, and I was doing things and everybody thought I was nuts. So we're seeing that. But at the same time, I don't know. It's just like I worry about there's not really going to be the same kind of greatness. I mean, now it's a lot about, producing a lot of content rather than quality content. I mean, think about how it used to be where, you would have somebody come out with like a few movies a year, maybe. Yeah. They would come out with one album a year. Now it's like you come out with something and it's so fleeting.
Well, for those who don't know, this is Jessica Harlow. She used to do makeup tutorials. You're one of the OGs on YouTube.
Yeah.
This is no, it's not a bad thing.
It was cool. Like I said,
you were one of the OGs, and you got your start on social media doing that, and you did very well at it. And I know we talked about it last time, but where do you see yourself going now? What's the future for you?
A very good question. I'm really liking writing right now. That's where I'm very happy. I like writing. I've been writing like a book that I've been working on, and we'll see what happens, but that's mainly what I'm doing.
Good for you. What's the
that's where I'm like the most happy.
So you definitely like what made you kind of take a step back from the makeup tutorials and the social media on YouTube?
Well, because everything became so woke, and it was almost like you weren't expected to just be, talking about makeup and things. You had to start talking about things that were actually important in the world, but you had to follow the narrative about it. Yeah. You had to follow the narrative about it. And I'm not somebody who can keep my mouth shut if I see something really wrong going on. And that's how I felt, because I could have just shut my mouth, said nothing, and just, continued along, just for one of those who just doesn't touch on anything. Yeah. Because I don't really care. Like, I'm not somebody who, if somebody's pressuring me to talk about something, like, I don't care. If I don't want to talk about it, I'm not talking about it, and I'll talk about it if and when I want. Right. But when I saw how bad things were getting and started waking up to the reality of everything and realizing that what was popular was actually a detriment, I couldn't keep my mouth shut. So it was I had to make the decision of, okay, do you want to keep your mouth shut and, keep going along? I wasn't into it anymore. I lost my passion for it anyway. So it was like just the right timing for me.
How long did you do that for?
I felt like I wasn't interested in this, like 10 years.
Jesus.
And I started basically over 10 years, actually. And I started basically when I was like 19. So when you think about it, imagine doing the same exact thing since you were 19 years old. I mean, it's kind of insane.
No, because I talked to one professional YouTuber years ago, and he actually made a very good point. It's like YouTubers have to evolve. You cannot do the same thing you were doing 2 years ago. You've got to change. I was like, man, that's got to suck because you have to continuously reinvent yourself.
You have to continuously reinvent yourself, continuously keep up with like the different trends and things, and it's very isolating and it's very exhausting.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's really not for everyone, and it's tough. I don't talk a lot of crap. Well, I do talk a lot of crap about it, but that's besides the point. But look, it gave me a lot of really great things, but at the same time, I was just like, this is not something that I want to be doing for the rest of my life. I was just like, this is mental.
Did it pay pretty good back in the day?
Yes, it did.
Really? Okay. Because the YouTube videos we would do, the John Ross ones, depending on how many views we got, like if we got one that had like maybe 500,000 views, that might net us $3,000 for that video. But that's not a lot. Mm-hmm. That's really not a lot for if we really broke it down to production quality, filming, editing, all that stuff, the costs that are baked into that. If it wasn't me and Josh, like you're really, and then after taxes, you're walking away with maybe 2,000, if that.
Yeah. Well, I made the bulk of the money that I was making was coming from sponsorship.
I was about to say
That's
sponsorship
where I was
deals.
actually getting paid very well. Yeah. That was what was paying very well. Everything else is kind of like, just keep the lights on, things, keep you comfortable-ish. But I mean, that wasn't really where the money was most of the time. Mm-hmm. Eventually, because it would change. It would change. When I first started, it was very good, but then they just changed things. Everything's different.
Well, Elon's pushing to make Twitter.
And they changed things without any warnings, without any explanations, without anything.
Well, Elon's pushing to where Twitter is to be paying content creators a much larger percentile because basically he's saying that YouTube, Facebook are really screwing over content creators. Like you guys are putting your hearts and souls in this. People are consuming it, but you're not getting paid.
Because there's a lot of shadow banning.
Yeah. For sure, on that one.
I was getting shadow banned on YouTube before it was even a thing, before I even opened my mouth about anything. I was being shadow banned for just existing. I think my suspicion was very, very long ago was that I was too much of a critical thinker and a free thinker. I wasn't somebody who was pushing trends. I was somebody who was always telling people to think for themselves. I was very much always like, there's a very big difference between men and women. Mm-hmm. They're not the same. They're not built the same. We shouldn't be trying to compete with men. And I think that was before things were getting too crazy with like all the politics and shit.
Yeah.
But that was where I think that was my suspicion. I was like, I'm not pushing the same things that everybody else is pushing. Like everybody else is pushing like girl boss and, women can do it too. And the Me Too movement and this and that. And like, I was never hopping onto that. And I wasn't also like a big Trump hater or anything like that. So you get fucked.
It's funny how things
I'm not going to
shifted.
sit there celebrating. I'm not going to sit there celebrating abortions. It's just like I'm not doing that.
Yeah, it's funny to see how trends have shifted over time.
Abortion. I'm not even somebody who's completely against abortion, but I'm not. I don't see it as an event that we're going to celebrate. I don't think it's a happy time. I don't think anybody should be ashamed of what they've done, but I mean, it's not something to brag about.
That's definitely something that, like I said, it's shifting with the trends.
Vegans. It's just like with vegans. I mean, they do have a point when they say that, you're eating a dead animal. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to celebrate that I'm eating a dead animal. I'm aware of it. I'm not going to deny it.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you, the steak is delicious. Mm-hmm. And, the animal's dead now, so I might as well enjoy it. That's,
I'm quite the opposite. I do my little happy dance when I got that little porterhouse sitting in front of me. I'll do. Oh, absolutely. I'm break out the fucking grass skirt. I'm doing a luau.
I'm happy to see the meat. I'm happy to see the meat and eat it and all that. But I'm not going to celebrate, the killing of an animal. Even though I think, people who hunt, they kind of do that. I don't. Like, I'm a girl, whatever.
What? Hold up. I'm a hunter. How are we celebrating?
You don't celebrate when you shoot something?
Yeah, I did.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, the first thing I do is I send up a thank you prayer to God for providing this meat.
You're not going to hold a funeral for the.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no,
that's
of course
okay.
not.
But I'm just saying. But
wait, what constitutes celebrating? What are you talking about? Are we talking about like we break out the big kazoo and then we have like the birthday cake or the death cake? Like, it was a 10-point buck, so it's got 10 candles.
I imagine that there's at least a big smile on your face.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Like, look what we got.
It means we're going to be eating really good.
That's normal.
Okay.
Yeah, I was able to fill my freezer for the
part of
family.
life. Listen, nature is cruel. it's not really, very friendly.
I can understand the difference there, though, between people like us that we hunt for food. Like, it's one of those things of like, have you ever had venison?
A what?
Have you ever had venison, deer meat?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Deer meat is one of the healthiest and most tastiest meats there are. Like, it's really good.
Actually, I might have actually.
All you have to have, I think it's, oh God, I forget what it is. I forget the percentage of fat meat ratio, but it is one of the healthiest meats out there. And it's just, oh my God, you can put it in everything. Last night we had deer tacos. We've had deer stew, deer steak. It's just, and it's so good. But there are hunters out there that I think fall more in line with what you're describing as far as they're kind of like big game hunters. They're killing just for the sake of killing. And that I can understand I would agree with or I'm against it, unless it's for overpopulation issues. Then I can understand why you have to go in there and do it.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I don't see the reason to go out and kill an elephant. I just don't.
Yeah, I don't think I could do that.
Me neither.
Yeah, no, I don't support that. Don't
No.
kill an elephant.
Yeah, I couldn't do that, especially after Dumbo.
Don't kill things that you can't make like a good use of.
Well, I mean, I could cut that fucker's horns off or the tusks and go sell those for a pretty penny, but
that's not.
I know, I
that's
agree.
not good enough.
I agree.
I
think if it's not for the purposes of consumption, then what's the point? But I understand that the draw some people have.
Survival.
Yeah. Well, the draw some people have, it's like they want to go hunting in Africa. And it's like, well, I want to go kill some wild game. It's like, okay, but to be fair, you got a fucking gun. The lion doesn't stand a chance, dude. Sure, it's got a probability that it could come in and get you. It's like, but if you want it to be fair and square, either you bust out a knife or a spear and you go hand to hand because now you both have claws. Or you give that lion a fucking AK-47.
How did we get into this subject?
I don't know. I just let shit go where it goes. I don't know. That's the best part about podcasting.
We're spending way too much time on hunting.
All right. Well, with that being said, let's get your thoughts on this because this is also breaking news. And I don't know how closely you've been following the Twitter fiasco, but are you tracking the Twitter files at all? The releases that Elon's been doing on Twitter?
No.
Okay,
I wish I was, but no, I have not. But I heard the laptop stuff came out, right?
Well, not yet, no. But it was proven that the laptop story was suppressed by Twitter. That's what the Twitter files initially started off about. And,
it's like telling us water is wet. We knew that.
Yeah, but Elon's showing the receipts now, so there's no denying it at this point. Of course, liberals are going to do that. They're going to deny it no matter what. But the most recent one was...
You could show them hardcore proof. They'll still deny it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But the most recent one, or their biggest top story right now, is that ex-Twitter executive forced to flee home due to Elon Musk fueled threats against him. So this guy was the head of the trust and safety board of Twitter even after Elon took over. His name was Yoel Roth, and he stayed on. But people were digging up his tweets from, I think, back in 2011 or 2015 when he was calling Trump supporters and the like Nazis. And people were like, wait a minute, this is the guy that you got in charge of truth and trust and safety. He's like, and clearly he has advocated for the banning and censoring of conservative voices on Twitter. Well, recently, Yoel went on a podcast and talked about Twitter yet after he quit. Not a fan of Elon now, naturally, of course not. But some tweets of his were dug up from like 2011 where he was tweeting some very groomer-like tweets. And Elon Musk kind of magnified that and said, oh, well, this doesn't surprise me. And as a result, this article just happened today. And this is referring to Yoel Roth, and it says the ex-Twitter executive forced to flee home due to Elon Musk's fueled threats against him. A former top Twitter executive, that's the Yoel guy, was forced to flee his home because of the threats made against him after he was publicly smeared by the company's new owner, Elon Musk, according to a report. The billionaire falsely claimed that Yoel Roth, Twitter's former head of trust and safety, is an advocate for child sexualization and posted excerpts of his doctoral dissertation. Mr. Roth, an openly gay Jewish man, resigned from the company in November. I love how they include that. They always got to go with the homosexuality and the spirituality because, again, if you're in the protected minority class, nobody can touch you. And this has nothing to do with him being gay or a Jew. Nothing. Why are they even including that? I don't care
what you are. Yeah. I don't care what you are. If you are into children, you are disgusting.
Yeah. Well, Mr. Musk's $44 billion purchase of the platform and following the new owner's release of the Twitter files has faced online attacks and threats of violence, says CNN. Mr. Roth's job at Twitter involved him working on a string of highly sensitive issues, including the suspension of one-term President Donald Trump in the wake of his supporters' attack in the U.S. Capitol. Now, the thing I'm curious about is, are they going to show the tweets this guy's getting hit for? Because I don't think they will. He talks about, I remember reading the tweets. One of them was basically saying, is it possible for a student to ever have consensual sex with a teacher? And it was like we talked about yesterday, what's the point of you having that discussion or even doing a paper or a dissertation on this? Because ultimately, the answer is no, it's wrong. The only reason you're trying to dig more deeper into this is if you can figure out a way to turn that no into a yes. It is okay. That's the only reason. I just don't see the method. But anyway, after Musk went public with this Yole dude, people are coming after him now. And it's like, look, you deserve it, bro. As they should. You deserve it.
I mean, look at what they attack other people for. They're not going to attack somebody for that. I mean, come on.
Exactly. But again, as we've seen before, I think once more they're going to use their sexuality and their religion to try and shield themselves from any types of possible disagreements or attacks.
Yeah. And you really got to bring down that politically correct wall. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. But I think this dude's got it coming. It's like, I'm sorry, bro. I mean, I'm not sorry. When you censor,
of course he's going to have backlash for that.
Yeah. And I don't see this as being like uncalled for and apparently this is the other thing that they did not include in this article.
Well, that's what I mean. Freedom of speech. Like he has the freedom to say what he said.
Yeah.
And people have the right to respond.
Oh, naturally, especially when you, again, in this day, when things are fueled to target the children and indoctrinate them sexually, you even stepping near that topic, which is taboo to me, you even remotely going close to it, you're playing with fire. You are playing with fire.
Yeah.
If you try and advocate for anything that could be in any way comparatively close to what they're referencing as far as the child-friendly drag shows, you're on your own.
It's going to start with that. And then the conversation's going to end up somewhere way worse.
Yes. Oh, 100% agree. But again, this article, this is written by the Independent.
With like, if somebody's like 18 and their teacher is this, like, it's going to start there, and then it's going to be like, so they're going to be trying to find the limit, and as they're trying to find the limit, they're going to get into a whole a whole hole that they shouldn't really be in.
I agree.
Why should it concern them?
That's where we're heading down, because again, I think parents are more than less standing up against this for the most part. We saw what happened in West Virginia, that state flipped. People were just so sick and tired of the perversions that are happening at the hands of this. But it definitely
that's where it comes down to. I mean, it comes down to parents standing up and saying this is wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how the parents are the best wolves when it comes to society, and that's why they work so hard to, tear apart, the family, the nuclear family, and all those old school values.
Well, in this article,
because they want to get to the kids. That's why there's feminism. Because that's where everybody asked me, where do you think everything went wrong? And I was like, it's feminism. As soon as the mother was taken out of the household and she went to work, that's where everything went downhill. And children were left unattended for extended amounts of time. Women were competing with men. And so that would, marriages would fall apart. And you would have this end up happening. Women were thinking, oh, I could have a kid on my own. It's like, no, you can, but why would you choose that?
Especially in this economy. Good luck. It's insane.
I mean,
it's insane.
Yeah, but then that's another thing. But the economy made it where a lot of households have no choice. They had to have both parents working.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And we've kind of shucked away from fiscal responsibility to where, if we can't afford to have a kid and we're having a kid, well, then we're going on government subsidies. And now you're just you're milking more taxpayer dollar.
Correct. And then back in like the 1950s and 1960s, yes, one man could have like a normal job and would still be able to support, his wife, 2 children, a dog, they have a house with a little white picket fence, and all that jazz. Now that's impossible.
Yeah. Sadly enough, it is.
For so many people, it's impossible.
Well, I mean,
there's reasons why, it's partially feminism, and of course it's also the economy. Both of those things are heavily manipulated. It's not like this wasn't by design.
Right. Several contributing factors that have led to the current situation we're facing. They create
the problem and the so-called solution.
Well, the solutions are blaming men. It's like, wait a minute. It's like, y'all wanted the right to vote. We gave it to you. You wanted to go out and work. We let you do that. And now you're coming at us as it's our fault. It's like, we gave you everything you wanted. Why are you bitching at us?
I don't see. This is the thing. Now you brought up voting. I don't believe everybody should have the right to vote. I don't think voting is a right. I think it's a privilege. If you don't know what's going on, you should not be voting.
I know, but at the same time,
I know that's like tricky because it's like, well, if these people don't understand what this is and what that, well, they have to be educated. You have to learn how to. You have to, pass tests to drive. You have to pass tests to go to college.
Yeah, but those are not in the Constitution.
Pass tests for that.
Yeah, but they're not in the Constitution. Do what?
Well, maybe we need to add to it.
No, I disagree entirely. I get where you're coming from.
I disagree.
I know where you're coming from on that. I wish our voter base
would
be more educated.
I love the Constitution.
But it's like, to what level of education?
Change it.
I think that's where these platforms come in and can educate people to where they can come and see what's going on in the country, in the world, and be able to make an educated vote that way.
But is it in the Constitution that we need to know how to drive to be allowed to drive?
No. That's where.
So then why isn't there something for voting?
There you go. Or maybe we go the opposite. No. Let's reverse what you just said. Why do we have to have a license to practice driving on a highway we fund through taxpayer dollars? Because the state got involved. I can have that conversation to where it's like we should not have these licenses. They should not be in existence.
That's an argument.
Yeah, and I agree. I think it's like
because my answer would be an answer that I don't like, because I'd be like, well, it's for safety, and that's a very bad answer.
100%.
That for safety excuse has created so much chaos. So
it's led to so much socialism.
Again, there's.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that.
But no,
I could almost agree with that.
I think voting is definitely all right. It's like I don't think that you should have to pass. I wish we could. Don't get me wrong. I wish we could. But that'd be compromising that idea of the freedom to choose and the freedom of choice. Because if you're a citizen, that is your right. That is your God-given, unalienable right, unless you become a felon. In which case, I have a very different set of principles when it comes to that. I feel like if a felon or a priorly convicted felon has fulfilled their time.
Yes, because
then they should be.
A felon has lost the privilege to vote.
Right.
In your eyes.
No. Right. It's a right, not a privilege. It's a right.
It's a privilege.
No, it's a right.
If you can't do it anymore, then it's not a right.
Yes, it is. 100%.
No, it's a privilege.
You forfeited your right. Wait, if I kill somebody and then I get put in prison, is my freedom a privilege or is it a right?
It's a privilege.
No, freedom is a right. You kidding me? Come on. I see what you're just being a contrarian for the sake of being a contrarian. That's all you're doing. This is what women do. This is what women do. Don't play me, Jessica. Don't play me.
I'm sorry for my chromosomes.
Oh my God, these fucking people.
Are you calling me fat?
Are you calling me fat? Put some Windex on it. It'll be all right. Oh my God. Well, we got another article here that I know you're going to love. Minnesota science teacher claims cell biology lessons are part of capitalistic indoctrination. The science teacher claimed that bacteria were the original anarchists. A Minnesota science teacher in the St. Paul Public Schools district lambasted cell biology lessons, particularly on mitochondrion, for containing capitalist propaganda. Fox News Digital found. Mandy Jung, a teacher at Highland Park Middle School, said, lately there's been a lot of conversations about teachers indoctrinating students to their beliefs. And I always find this funny because our children are seeped in capitalistic indoctrination from like the second they're born, basically. Jung proceeded to provide the perfect example of how capitalist indoctrination is expressed in her 7th grade science class. And you, again, I'm looking, if you're watching the stream live, you'll see what I'm looking at. Very unattractive, clearly overweight woman, definitely unfuckable, wearing these glasses that are not in style. They're just for the simple fact of her wanting to get attention. She's got part of her hair dyed pink.
I just love that you said definitely unfuckable.
Oh, they're always unfuckable. No, and I know this is a generalization. They're always unfuckable. The feminists are never fuckable. They're not. They're just very unattractive.
They need to find some,
they need to get some dick. If they could get some dick, they would not be this unhappy. These women need good fuckings. That's all they need. If some poor dude out there will jump on this fat grenade, this calorie grenade, and stick their meat stick in them like once or twice and let them squirt their gravy out and be good, then you're going to see them turn to like the most loving housewives ever. They'll be able to turn to little pussycats.
Put down the cat, grab the dick.
They're going to put down the pink pussy hats.
But sometimes you have these good-looking feminists, like the people like Emrata or whatever, and that confuses. That Emily Rata, whatever the fuck
I haven't
her
seen
name
this.
is, she's pretty. She's fuckable. She's the one she's currently supposedly dating Pete Davidson or whatever. She's a model. She's hot.
That already tells you, though, she's unfuckable. No. Unfuckable does not strictly limit itself to the physical features of a person. The personality also plays a major role. So I really feel that, once again, feminists...
Does it really?
Oh, fuck yeah. Oh, absolutely. No. You cannot tell me. For example, if you're a guy and you're going out on like maybe a group date, and that woman that you're interested in has this female friend that is the biggest fucking bitch you've ever, like, she's just so annoying. She's so aggravating. She projects too much because she's insecure. She tries to be her best to be more masculine and machismo. It's like, this is annoying. No, and she could be the most attractive woman out there. I would not want to fuck her because, like, you're annoying. Like, I would rather punch you in the face than put my penis inside of you. It's like, I find you and that's why I feel like a lot of women that are very, very attractive have very shitty personalities, because most men will simp for them and say, well, I can overlook the fact that you're a royal cunt, but if you're going to let me stick my wiener inside of you, I can deal with that. And that's when you have high value men that come out there and say, fuck you. It's like, I'm not going to subject myself to the simple fact of, like, if you let me between your legs, I will overlook it. Like, no, absolutely not. I want the best of both, as I bring to the table. So if I'm like an overly aggressive, sanctimonious asshole, women, I think it really goes down to, I think women are way more selective when it comes to who they sleep with than men. But I also feel like there's a little bit of that changing now, because I think men are starting to understand that feminism has destroyed women. When you find a woman that is traditional in a sense, that's a fucking gold mine. You found a gold mine, because these don't exist anymore. And I was thinking about this the other day, that in today's age, it's very common for women to have an OnlyFans. And it's very common for these women to be...
It's every other girl.
Yeah, and it's very common for women to sleep around now. And the thing that I wish I could explain to people, it's like, yes, men are going to find you attractive if you are very morally loose. But they're not going to marry you. They are not going to take care of you. They're going to use you as a fuck toy and move on to the next one, because that is the picture you have proposed to them. Men will fuck anything with two legs in the butthole by and large. So if women are acting in this capacity, well, yes, you're going to have men that want to line up to fuck you. But then the same women will look at one man that's fucked them and then go land a woman and marry her. It's like, well, wait a minute, you fucked me? It's like, yeah, because that's what you wanted. This woman is actually someone that wants a traditionalist relationship, and I'm ready for it. I kind of got my rocks off with you, but with her, I'm settling my shit down. You could have been that woman, but instead, you just wanted to fuck. That's why I see all these OnlyFans women, all these sluts. I see all this, like the EDM concerts, they're fucking each other like crazy. And I'm telling you, you post about this, you show off about this, you act very lewd on social media. You're not going to find a high value guy that's going to actually want to wife you up and settle you the fuck down because of how you acted. It's like, unless you've changed,
but then they've also brainwashed these women into thinking that they don't want that.
Yes, 100%. 100%.
And then they wonder why they're miserable later on.
100%. I agree. And the thing is, we haven't even seen this come to like real fruition yet. It's getting there.
Oh no, it's getting there, but we're not even close. This is going to show up in another generation more.
100%. I agree.
One more generation, I would say. We're like about one to 1.5 more generations before we really see what this is.
And suddenly that female empowerment that was basically just posting immorality and your loose morals. Hey, that's fine. Again, I don't think that should be banned. I don't think that you do what you. I'm not gonna sit there and say like, oh, you're a bad human being. I'm just saying that you can't get mad when you objectify yourself sexually and then men treat you like that. If you're out there and you're a whore and people treat you like a whore, that's because that's what you personify. That's what you act like.
I mean, it's what are you advertising?
Exactly. Exactly.
Packaging does matter.
100%.
We can argue that like, oh, well, that's unfortunate. Yeah, but you can also use it to your advantage and make different choices.
I think there's a very fine line in being sexy and slutty. There can be there's a fine line that I really respect, is when a woman can sexualize herself, but not so much in the immoral way, but in the, put it this way, it'd be like a comparison of Audrey Hepburn to Marilyn Monroe. Audrey Hepburn, hands down, every single time. Class is sexy to me. But that's just me. That's subjective. That's subjective opinion. But I will say, by and large, these people that I've seen, friends I've had throughout time, that have went down this road of just sleeping around. They're still unhappy. They're still bouncing job to job.
The way things are today, Marilyn Monroe would look like the Virgin Mary compared to what's going on today. Just like on average,
she fucked a couple of the president and his brothers. I mean, fuck JFK and his brothers. I think. I mean, that's really hitting it out of the park.
Bill Clinton got a blowjob.
I spend way too much time on the Instagram and the TikTok and the things that I have seen women normalize these days. I'm like, what are you guys talking about? They'll go on like 5 dates in a week with people they met over Tinder. They sleep with half of them. They end up sleeping with the rest of them. I'm like, how? When do you have time to like do anything else? Like all you do is fuck and go out with people. Like I don't get it. I don't get it. And I'm not saying this to be like a prude or anything. I'm just like I don't understand the mindset. But I mean, there's a big difference between, again, being sexy and having substance, you know?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But so many of the girls today, it's like everybody's leading with their ass cheeks.
Yeah, or their boobies.
I think a lot of people are going to wake up 20 years down the road and see that they
like,
missed out on a life that is way better than what they're living now. But that's both men and women.
It's like we basically know what at least 85 to 90% of women today's assholes look like without even having to meet them in person.
That's the truth. You're not wrong on that
one.
one.
Starfish.
It's true. Like I could, and if I haven't seen it, I can at least take a wild guess and draw you like a good police picture. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. What does her asshole look like?
Like it's true. It's gotten to a point where it's just too much. And this isn't me trying to shame women who do whatever they want to do. That doesn't.
Yeah,
it's excessive. And when I see something becoming a trend, it makes me uncomfortable.
It does make me wonder.
Especially when you consider that there are, there's children that are consuming this content. There's really young people consuming this content that may not understand the difference between, like, they'll just say like, well, this person gets a lot of likes and money and this and that. And look, I will say money, very important thing. It should be very high on the list, but it's just,
what do you want to sell
concerning.
for it?
It's like, it's like, what's the limit? And things just seem to get wilder and wilder. But at the same time, I do see a lot of people waking up to the lie that they've been sold by feminism. And now things are sort of swinging into the opposite direction. And I think there are people who are smart enough to see that, this is not working.
I feel like traditionalism, male traditionalism, has gotten a very bad rap, and by and large, our own fault. It being our own fault. I think traditionalism was more viewed as actual toxic masculinity, to where the woman doesn't have a voice, the man can abuse her. We're talking about like just at heart real misogyny.
We're not supporting that.
Exactly, and that's where I feel like most people view traditionalism in that. And I could be wrong on this one, but I feel like most women in today's society look at a traditional marriage or relationship in that manner, to where she needs to be barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen, where I feel like a lot of people have progressed in certain areas to where it's like, for example, it's like my girlfriend. It's like, look, you can work part-time and then be at the house part-time. I'm fine supporting the offset as long as you're making good around the house. I get that. That is a job in and of itself. I respect that.
Yeah.
And then she still cooks, and she's amazing at that. And we have a lot of fun doing that. And none of it was forced. It's just a role that she has taken up and she enjoys. And I love that as well. And then there are other women that want a different, more progressive style, traditional relationship that I can also respect that as well. But I feel like like I said before, women view it more so in the sense of the man takes into account none of the women, like a Middle Eastern relationship. You're there to make babies and shut the fuck up. That's what I feel like most people view that as.
For Greeks. It was like that for Greeks, like not that long ago.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think a lot of the times there were things that were not correct that were done in the past and that were very much normalized.
Yeah.
And now we know better.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of people, maybe they've either witnessed or heard enough horror stories about that way of living from that time, that maybe they're just trying to protect themselves, and they think they're doing themselves a service by going fully the other opposite direction and trying to go as far away from that as possible. But for the most part, most of the solutions in life are somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, I agree. The pendulum always swings too far one direction.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna knock people who a woman wants to work. I'm not going to knock that, but I also am not going to knock somebody who wants to stay at home and, just serve her husband, serve her children, etc.
I think people should try both and see which one you like, And if you have kids you don't like, well, then murder little bastards. That's what liberals do anyway.
There might be different seasons. There might be a point in your life where you don't want to do one or the other. And I think that's fine.
There's a lot to be said about woman who stays home to raise the family, because that's a very important job.
Insanely important. That's the next generation.
That's the next, and it's important for a father to be in the house.
Yeah.
To show his kids so show your son how to be a man. Yeah. Show your daughter, how to be loved.
Those father figures, 100%.
Right. So all that stuff is important. That's how.
Yeah, it's important to have.
It's been thrown to the side.
To have both parents be present.
Yeah.
But what tends to happen is, the way things are now, it's like mom's on OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Dad is also on OnlyFans, but in a different way. Nobody knows where anybody is. The kids are left to themselves. We're treating adults like children and children like adults.
Yeah.
And it's just everything is backwards and upside down.
Yeah.
And
and I feel like it's a man's responsibility to bring it back to center. So I mean, for me and our family, we go to church on Sundays. We try to be the traditional family. You know what I mean?
It's just interesting to see, though, how men have kind of lost what it means to be a leader because of a lack of father figures in their own lives, to where it's kind of like, well, then I kind of get why women are very selective and have to be very, very guarded, because essentially you're choosing a mate, and that mate has to make you feel like, number one, they can provide for you, they can protect and secure you, make you feel safe and at peace. And there's not a lot of that. We've got a lot of beta dudes walking around that feel like it's perfect.
And
I'm not saying it's wrong. Yeah, I'm not saying it's wrong. But I definitely see an increase in the feminization of men. Women, I think feminists by and large are responsible. They wanted men, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being in touch in your emotions. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying going too far and delving into the more effeminate side of the house and staying there versus embracing your masculine nature. Men, I feel by and large, we're not meant to be weak. We're not meant to be servants. We're not meant to be bending the knee. We're meant to be hunter-gatherers, killers, defenders, fighters, kings, the ones that protect our queens. And I had conversations before in the dating realm to where, when women want to go out and they want to dress a certain way, I've made it perfectly clear with women I've dated. It's like, you will dress a certain way when you're with me. And I'm not forcing you. I'm saying these are my boundaries. If you're going out there and you're dressing like a fucking hoe, no. Because what you're doing is, when we go out there, you're putting me in the position of when somebody makes a snide comment, or when somebody tries to grope, when somebody tries to grab, when somebody is very inappropriate, it's because of how you're dressed. Should they do that? No, they shouldn't. Will they do that? Yes, they will. That's the cold, hard reality of our society. And it basically the same argument of, a woman should be able to walk down a dark alley and not worry about getting raped, but it does happen. So you have to brace yourself and don't walk down a dark alley. So, I've had conversations with women that didn't like that. It's like, look, if you're with me, you're not going to go out there with your boobs hanging out. You're not going to go out there with your camel toe showing. It's like, no, I refuse. And if that's how you are, you go find a man that tolerates that. That's not me. You're going to hold yourself with class. And when you find the woman I have, she understands that. And she does it very well, and I respect the hell out of her for it. But most women look at that as like, oh, but you're just trying to stall or stifle her. No, if you want to be a slut, go find a man that wants to be with a slut. That's not me.
I mean, I think there's a time and a place for everything.
Yeah.
And I think that the way that you present yourself when you're with somebody is also a sign of respect for them, because you are representing them and they're representing you.
100%.
So I think that's definitely a conversation to have. And my thing is I believe that you should always take into consideration, what the person that you're with thinks is best. But you also have to, while you're giving this advice to her, it's actually not just to serve you. It actually serves her as well.
Absolutely.
It does her a favor as well. And I think that's what's important. It's not about trying to change somebody just so you can selfishly, have what you want, how you want it.
Yeah.
But
is this a mutually beneficial viewpoint to have?
Yeah. Yeah. I would never suggest somebody do something just because, it's going to make me happy.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes.
I was about to say, wait a minute.
But
no, I get what
overall,
you're saying. Yeah.
Overall, it's like, if I'm going to ask somebody to change something that is, about them, it would be more or less about, well, how does this make you look, regardless of whether I'm in the picture or not? Do you think this really does you a service or a disservice? And I think that's a conversation to have.
Yeah,
absolutely. I think if you're telling a woman I don't want you to show any cleavage at all, and don't wear a dress, or just only wear this.
Yeah.
Then you're walking into okay, this guy's got issues.
Yeah, put on this burqa.
To a certain extent. To a certain extent, it's like when you agree to be with somebody, you kind of have to sort of accept them at where they're at. If you want to make dramatic changes to them, maybe that's not the right person for you.
That's such a slippery slope. That that's, you bring up a really good point. because I feel like
Yeah.
I would never close the door on someone right away if they went too far one direction. Like if we were on a date and she asked me and I laid out my points and reasoning as I just did with you, which I feel is it's like a common sense approach to where like I understand where you're coming from, and it doesn't seem rooted in actual misogyny, but much more so in mutual respect for one another and for each and for ourselves.
Yeah.
And she could be like,
I think that's where it should come from.
Yeah, and if she sees that and she's basically like the club scene type and dresses immodestly, but she's like, that's what I was, but I do want to work on changing, then I think that definitely is something that, like, yeah, okay, I'd be willing in pursuing this with you. And if you need help, if you need guidance, I will give you my opinion. And granted, it is my opinion, so it's going to be biased. But I feel like that's something that, like, don't instantly close the door on somebody, because that's, how does somebody change? If you don't at least give them the opportunity to change. Now, if you give them the opportunity, they don't change.
We're not talking
about
like glaring red flags. I mean, if she has a lifestyle that's not what you would agree with, I mean, maybe that's not the right person for you. But it depends. Look, there's always, you have to see, like, is it something, like, if you really like somebody, have a connection with them, you're into them, and you have, let's say, similar values, you can see where there's maybe some wiggle room in how you can both probably improve each other's lives, and you know, the way you're both presenting yourselves to the world, not just to each other, but also to the world.
I think I had this conversation once. It was a really, really good, or I watched this one, excuse me, and then I had it with a friend of mine, and it talked about, what do you think is more valuable, men or women? Like, what do you feel like society puts more demands on as far as what they bring to the table in the dating world, men or women?
Well, I mean, you're going to have to define what a man and woman is first.
They're just very, I'm not a biologist.
But no, the point was, the dude said the priority goes to men, because women can choose men. It's ultimately men are pursuing women, and women are looking for main things of, number one, financial wealth. How are they doing there? Number two, career. Number three, looks. These are things that they really focus on when choosing a potential partner. When it comes to women, why is it that men are not so selective when it comes to women saying, okay, well, what do you bring to the table? And it's like, do you have a career? Are you in shape? Do you look good? But it's completely one-sided. And when these women at least acknowledge that.
I don't think it's completely one-sided.
You don't think so?
I don't think it's completely one-sided. I think it's just, I think there's different demands. I wouldn't say like one is like way worse than the other. It's just it's just different.
Right.
It's just they're just different, because men and women do bring different things to the table.
Fair enough. I could see that. But it definitely, as far as like, well, so we'll put it this way though. Like, and here's the conundrum that we face in our society, because now we have this merging of traditionalism with progressivism, to where you look at a woman and it's like, okay, well, you're single, you live by yourself, therefore I imagine you have a career. And if you don't have a career, what are you doing?
Taking care of 8 cats.
And the other part of that, especially because I'm in my late 30s, if I was dating again and I'm talking to another woman that's in her mid to late 30s and she doesn't have a career and she lives on her own, and I'm like, oh, what the fuck is going on? Like, if you haven't been married to somebody and you've been single this entire time, what's wrong with you? Then it's a slippery slope when it comes to dating, especially in your late 30s. And after your 30s, my God, it's kind of like, look, if you haven't found somebody by now, you might as well just get like a BFF, like just a fuck buddy. That's it, because you're probably not going to find anybody at this point.
That's what I'm saying, man. I think a lot of these, like men, at least in your mid 40s, you could still probably find somebody 10 years younger that you need to marry and maybe have kids by then. But that's
typically what happens.
Yeah.
But so that's why I think a lot of these women are going to get to their 40s, and they're not going to be married, or they're not going to have kids.
They're not going to have careers.
They're going to miss out on that opportunity. I mean, there's just so much to be said about having kids and bringing kids into the world.
A lot of women these days are leading with their imaginary penis that they wish that they had, because there's, they're going after careers. And I do think, look, it's very important for a woman to have her own money, because things can go very bad if you don't. If you can't be okay, like if you're completely dependent on a man, like that could really screw you over in the end, because you don't know. Like, listen, he might turn out to be abusive, or maybe he dies. You don't know. Like, you can't depend on anyone.
Oh yeah,
but
I agree.
Women need to know how to put their dick down before they're going out on a date.
Yeah,
I mean, if they a lot of the times, like, I'll hear women say, like, well. Like, I'll talk to people who go out on dates and they're leading with their careers and their accomplishments, and they're surprised that men aren't really into this. And they're like, well, why should I have to downplay my because it's like, he's not trying to date your career. He's trying to date you. as a woman.
Oh, but you see, I don't know. That's such a slippery slope, though, because it's like, say, for example, if I was going on a date with a woman and I have my career and we're discussing and she comes to me, it's like, this is what I've accomplished. No, I do take that into consideration. I do appreciate and respect that. It's like, okay, number one, that shows she's ambitious as fuck, and I love that.
But sometimes they lead with that, and then they use that as like that is like who they are, and like that's their full identity. And I think that's I think it does a disservice.
Well, I mean, men do the same thing. Isn't that kind of expected from men?
Yes, but that's why men and women are different.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. I don't know if that viewpoint. I get your viewpoint.
Men and women are different.
I just don't. You see, that's the problem with feminism. We don't view it that way anymore. We view equality. We view progressive equality, where it's like, no, we're the same.
That's y'all. That ain't me. I know. I don't view it.
No, I know. I know what you mean. But I'm just saying, by and large,
old-fashioned. If a man cares about my career, I'm like, why do you care about my career? To be very honest with you, the only men who really truly cared about my career were losers.
Really?
For me and my experience. Now, look, this could be my experience. I'm not saying this is everybody, but in my personal experience, the ones who cared too much were losers.
The reason I care so much is it's for the reason you literally already described, though. It's because if something happens to me, say like we're together, we get married, something happens to me, I need to know that you're going to survive on your own. That I need to know that, because I made that mistake my
that's
first.
Why I also say it's important for a woman to have her own.
Yeah.
Because you never know what happens.
Oh yeah.
You just don't.
Every relationship I've been in.
We can't do like in 1950 where people were getting married at like 18 years old.
Guilty.
Like, you know what I mean?
Guilty.
You can't do that anymore. Now people don't do that anymore. Usually people aren't getting married till like late 20s, early to mid 30s, like on average.
Which I think is smart. A lot of I think that's smart. I think you should definitely figure out your youth.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but that's why the way it was before, where it was, you don't have to have any career at all or like any way of, having a living. It doesn't really work anymore, just because that's just not how society is going. I mean, you do have to move with the times, and some advancements that we've made are good. They're not necessarily bad. Yeah. It's just when things get to an extreme. Yeah. And you have to really think about what do you really want, and how much of it is because of what society is telling you you're supposed to want now, because what's in fashion now. Yeah. Whereas now women are being told, like as young as, let's say, 13, there's girls who are growing up and thinking, well, when I get to be 18, I'm going to have my OnlyFans and I'm going to do that. And it's like, what? No, she's not lying, folks. She's not lying. People use this as a backup strategy to basically say, well, I don't need to go actually learn any job skills. No, they're looking for it as like a main one. No, that's what I'm saying. It's like their main strategy instead of going with an actual career and learning skills, which I always find funny about women that say that men and women are equal. It's like, yeah, you've had equal rights for a while now, but why is it still the most labor-intensive jobs are like 98% dominated by men and not women? If we really had equality, or the need or the want for proof of equality, women would be going into these fields. Like the next time you're on a road construction gig, see how many women are working that. See how many women are working up in the power lines and the tree cutting industry and the forestry. They're not. They're just not, because they're not designed to go out there and want to have to do manually intensive or physical intensive labor. They're just not. And I don't fault them. I don't fault them at all. That's what men are created for. And if you're, I don't know. I feel like you're right. The times have changed. And to even sit there and say, like, go on a first date and say, I'm more of a traditional man, I think by and large, and I could be wrong on this, maybe I'm wrong on this, but I feel like by and large, women across the board try and project like they're against traditionalism. But I feel like maybe if you sat down with some of these women, you said, I'm more of a traditionalist in a sense of, I want my woman taken care of. She's a representation of me, so she's going to dress nice. I'm going to get her nice things, but I'm going to provide for her. I'm going to take care. I'm going to make her a queen. Now, if she wants to work, I'm okay with that. But I don't really want her to, because I want kids. I want a house. If you say that to a woman nowadays, I just don't know how that'd be received. Like, I'm not saying women are against this. I think a woman would look at you like a dick growing out of your forehead, like, what? You people exist? Y'all are still there? I thought they bred that out of you men by now.
I think it depends on where you're meeting these women or meeting these men as well.
Bowling alley.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for Mr. or Mrs. Right at a bar,
and then what are you baiting your hook with?
Yeah, your odds of finding the person that
you're looking for. I'm not saying it's impossible, because I have my favorite bar that I frequent. It's my little Irish pub, but I would never go in there expecting to meet anybody of substance. Like, it's a pub. It's just a bar. I'm not saying stupid people go to bars. Yeah. I'm just saying that's not the place I'd go to find a date.
No, I met my wife at a bar.
Gay bar?
At a gay bar. No. But my brother introduced me to her. And, she was dating somebody at the time. And then a couple years passed and we ran into each other on an airplane and struck up a conversation there. And it went from there.
Yeah.
But we had the same vision values of how we wanted our futures to play out. So, we both, we're both Christian. We both wanted to have a family. We both kind of had a similar childhood.
No, you told me all these same things when we first met, and we've
raised by single parents.
We never got married. You just
because you couldn't talk. You mumbled through everything.
You pushed me to the side. Laura came in. I was swept under the rug. I got no kids, no wedding ring. She got everything, and here I am, just another fucking bride or another groom, and a groomsman, never the groom. There you go. I'm battling between Josh and Jessica right now. I'm like, who am I talking to on this one? It's like, no, but I get where you're coming from. I feel like a lot of times have definitely warped our viewpoints in the sense of like what it is that we're actually looking for. Because I myself have tried to embody more values based upon the idea of the individual being empowered to go out there and achieve great things, to apply yourself to your job, build something. And I feel like women should be the same. But I also get the opposing side of that, to where it's like, if you want someone in your life that's going to be at home, taking care of the house, decorating the house, cleaning the house, running errands, handling all the at-home stuff to include paying the bills and stuff, like I get that as well. I've had that before. My first marriage was very much like that. And I still stood for the same thing of, I want you to have a college education, have some type of job just in case if I go off and get killed, you've got something to fall back on. And that's where I came at it from. But dating in this day and age, it's so much more different to sit there and say like, I want a more traditional based relationship. And I feel like on a lot of these dating apps though, that option is there to where you can talk about like what it is that you're actually looking for. So you can go through the filtering process a lot easier. Because I mean, I don't want to sit there and go and like go through nothing but profiles of liberal women, because I think over half of them probably have a penis.
Blue hair, red hair, pink hair, purple hair,
you don't know what
silver
you're
hair.
Get. It's like a wonder ball. You don't know what you're gonna get.
Oh my God. Well, Jessica, hey, we got to wrap this up. It's an hour and 42 minutes we're going on. I want to say thank you for coming on the show. And before you go, where can people find you at on social media?
At Jessica Harlow on Instagram. If you follow me there, you'll follow me everywhere.
There you go. Jessica, thank you so much for coming on the show. It's always a pleasure to get your feedback on a lot of these.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, love having you.
Likewise.
She's like John Wayne toilet paper. She'll take shit off anybody.
What?
John Wayne toilet paper. You don't take shit off anybody. Like, it's like John Wayne. He don't take shit from nobody.
That joke went all the way over my head.
I'll explain it to you later. We'll do it. That John Wayne was a very, John Wayne was, right?
I know who John Wayne was.
Okay,
yes.
he didn't take shit from anybody. So you're like John Wayne. Okay, we're done. We're done here. We're done. Jessica, as always, it's been a privilege. Thank you so much for being here.
Have a great day.
You too. Again, that is Jessica Harlow. You can follow her on Instagram. Again, she used to be one of the OG YouTube makeup influencers. And clearly she's doing very well for herself. And, friend of the show. Love getting to have conversations with her. But, that pretty much wraps it up for today's episode of the All American Savage Show podcast. If you could, go leave us a great review on the podcast on iTunes. That helps us out a lot. And if you want, go check out shellshockcbd.com, where code JOLLY is going to save you 25% off of the sample packs for you to try out personally. Maybe you're just a little hesitant in spending $40 or $50 on a month's worth of Rack Out gummies to help you sleep, or Delta 8 gummies to get you stoned, or the Fallout gummies to help you just kind of relax, and you just kind of want to test the waters. We have that option. It's the sample packs. 25% off, code JOLLY just for the month of December. Try it out. Give it a shot. What do you have to lose? $5? $5 to improve your quality of sleep? That's what you're gambling with. So do me a favor. We're the nation's largest veteran-owned CBD brand there is. Shellshockcbd.com, code JOLLY. You got anything to add, my man?
Yeah, you guys have a great day.
Big thank you to Jessica Harlow coming on the show today, and we will see you right here tomorrow at 12 p.m. CST on the All American Savage Show podcast on Rumble. Until then, you stay savage, America.